Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mentor Talk, the unique destination for insightful conversations with experienced professionals. I am your host, Suzette, the CEO of Sales Pro for You, and more about me as usual during this episode. So, in this podcast, we will delve deep into the minds of accomplished mentors who share their expertise and insights. And as you know, each interview is a real treasure trove of practical advice, personal anecdotes, and your doorways to sustainable business success. So, whether you are a startup, a scale up, or also a professional looking, to get in touch with startups or experts. So, in terms of sales, marketing, business development, this podcast show is your doorway to success. So, without further delay, and I'm already a bit nervous because I have a very special guest today with me. Let's start into today's enlightening conversation with David Gaz. David, I'm not quite sure if I pronounced your name correctly.
Oh, you pronounced it perfectly. Everybody has a different way of saying it. I kind of roll with however somebody wants to say it. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. So, before we jump into our kind conversation, which will be a buzzword of today's podcast show, I would like to give a short summary about your impressive background to the listeners. So, if I am right, and if not, please correct me because I'm very bad with ages. You got over, I would guess, 20 years or maybe 25, or I may be a bit younger, I'm not quite sure, of experience in advertising and marketing. You started as a creative director in Paris, then spent a decade as a fashion photographer for big names like Levis and Disney. And interestingly, when the digital advertising took off, you used your film experience to start the Bureau of Small Projects, your company that helps both big brands and startups. Last year, your company became one of America's fastest growing businesses and made it to the top 10 advertising agency in the country. So your motto, signs of kindness. So welcome, David.
Oh, thank you, Suzette. Pleasure being on your show.
Thank you so much. So I am very impressed. I mean, you are listed in the top 10. But before we got to this, I really would like to understand more details about your background, how your company also helps working with startups. And maybe you can also give, a short summary in a nutshell, maybe about how you made it, so far.
Oh, I would love to do that. I would love to do that. I want to make one correction is we don't usually work with big brands and Fortune 500 companies anymore. Our business model is Fortune 500 and big brand experience put to work for small business startups and nonprofits. And specifically small businesses and startups that are making a difference in the world, that are making the world a better place.
Yeah.
Um, and kind of how that started, and it goes along with this whole kindness thing that you were mentioning. A few years back, we were politically kind of in a time very much like today where people weren't being very nice to each other. They were treating people kind of poorly. It was bleeding into work. Our clients weren't treating people very well. People on our team weren't treating each other very well. And I'm starting to think it's always been like that. Who knows? I'm no youngster, but it's starting to seem like this happens all the time. And so I wanted to do something about it. And I was reading in a science magazine, Scientific American, about these two guys, James Fowler and Nicholas Christakis at Harvard University, who had scientifically proven that kindness is contagious. That if I do something nice for you, Suzette, you will statistically, and this is proven by science, do something nice for four more people. Each of those four people will do something nice for four more people, and so on and so on. Now, being in branding and marketing, we love anything viral like this. And looking at that, I thought, gosh, this might also solve my problem with people being nicer to each other. So I used the resources at my disposal, owning an ad agency, to produce a feature-length documentary called Kindness is Contagious. And it's a film about being nice, but more importantly, the benefits of being nice. And one of the things, it was very interesting because one of the things that we found early on is this whole idea of nice guys finishing last is totally bogus. It's totally made up. Nice guys actually make more money on average than not nice people, which surprised me. You always think that not nice people make all the money in the world, but on average, people who are nice make much more money. They have more friends, obviously, which is useful in this, social media world that we live in. They have better family lives, more relationships. And then the thing that really surprised me or blew me away was that nice people actually physically live longer than not nice people.
So this means that being nice is also good for your personal health.
Absolutely. It's crazy. It's crazy amongst so many other things. And being an entrepreneur, I started my first business was an ice cream truck when I was 16 years old. Being an entrepreneur, I wanted to see, is there any businesses out there that are using kindness as like a business tool for success? And so as part of this film, we interviewed these Silicon Valley startups, green energy companies, nonprofits, healthcare organizations, people whose day job was making the world a better place. And I started to get jealous, and this is where the Bureau of Small Projects came into play, is I started to get jealous because my day job was sucking every last penny out of people's pockets. And these guys, their day job was making the world a better place. And so I thought, how could I make my day job making the world a better place? And the idea I came up with was, what if I teach those people how to suck every last penny out of people's pockets and put it to use for like the betterment of mankind? And so with that in mind, in my old company, I created the Bureau of Small Projects. And we chose that name specifically because we wanted people to know that we were working with small businesses making a difference in the world, startups and nonprofits. Not these huge corporations that my business, intimidating companies that my business was working with, but we wanted to take the principles that made these companies so successful and then teach them to the people that were making the world a better place.
That's so nice. I mean, you gave wings to such companies, right? So this is what you did by producing such a nice movie.
We try to. There's so many sneaky tricks that these big brands use to be successful, and they're really cool. From a scientific and psychological standpoint, they're very, very effective. And I thought, what would happen if we taught it to the people that could, do some good with these tricks? And it's been phenomenal. Once you start to learn about marketing and branding, and I've been doing it, you mentioned 25 years, it's probably more like 30. I'm an old guy. But one of the things you learn is, when fresh out of college, I thought, oh, it's all art, and then branding is all creating beautiful images and logos and stuff like that. And now, well into my career, I've realized it's all science. It's all little triggers that we have. There's certain things that you do. Everything has to look, gorgeous. That's kind of the cost of entry, I guess I'd say. But there's all kinds of little psychological triggers, and over the years, you just collect these, and they always work. And you kind of lose a little faith in mankind as being an individual free thinker when you learn these tricks, but it gives you superpowers. And we like to teach those superpowers to the people that are really making an impact on the world.
It's so wonderful, David. Thank you for sharing such details. And believe it or not, but in the last episode, I spoke with an economist, and the lady is also a great expert, in also with numbers. And I asked her about, let's say, the sense or the meaning of cryptocurrencies. We went in a totally different topic during our discussion. And later on, she just said to me, sales is a science. And now you're telling me, which is very nice because, I see the connection because science is everywhere. Also, if you are building a business. You just said the kindness of science, or science as a kindness, maybe something like this. Exactly. So there's a
Oh yeah, I'm a
connection.
total science nut. And was that the podcast of sales is a win-win
Ah, yes,
podcast?
this was the one exactly. I mean, no, just give me a second. No, no, no. I am puzzling it up. No, the one before was about a win-win situation. This was
Yeah.
with Alex, and this was so wonderful because he was telling the truth. We spoke about, maybe it sounds a bit rude, but this is how I feel, especially in my country. I think you should not do any kind of bullshit business. I mean, this is the word I use. And I
Hmm.
believe also in this. I mean, this is the same as you are believing in, I would say. And for me, it's also very important to have, let's say, or to establish a sustainable network, right? So, to not talk to people, because of profit. Of course, every one of us has to make some profit because, we have to earn money and we have to feed our kids and the dogs and the cats and to make holidays and everything like this. But it's about how you do it, how you do your business, how you connect with people, if is it a fair game or is it just bullshit? And yeah, I'm really trying to be more on this kindness page as you are.
Oh, I agree fully. And I love that win-win podcast. I'm going to listen to the next one right away as well. I think I'd like that very, very much. I think that sales is absolutely, it's changed. I think with the way that everything's become international, I think the internet really changed everything. It gives us access to the best in the world, not just local folks. And with that in mind, you have to be different and better than your competitors. And the sales is all about, and marketing and branding, articulating what makes you different and better than your competitors. And people have to come to you now. You can't do the old, the cold calling, the hunting down people. We have so many tools now. We can see who's calling on our phone. We've got email. We got so
Yeah.
many buffers. You can't sell people anymore. You
No.
have to attract them to you. And
Exactly. Yeah. And sorry for interrupting you, but I was, there's one question I'm always asking myself is about, let's say, the meaning of social selling, right? I mean, I guess this is what we are currently talking about, right? I mean, how to sell, I mean, not with this old methods like emailing and cold calling, what you just said.
yeah, I don't even look at it as selling anymore. I think if you're selling something, you're in trouble these days. It's all about relationships, telling people what you do and letting them choose for themselves. People have a phenomenal amount of choice now, and international choice. We call it a winner take all economy now, being that, why buy locally when you can buy anywhere in the world? And so, with that in mind, people do a whole lot of research. They've got these fantastic tools now. AI and crypto is changing everything.
Yeah.
We've got so much information that now it's about choice. You cannot force anybody to buy something they don't want to buy anymore. And when you see something on LinkedIn, somebody reaches out with a big long message before you even read it,
I
you
know.
just delete it now. There's so many buffers.
I mean, and many, many people told me, yes, you said you have to try it. You have to cold call people. You have to send out this mass emails, you have to send out a lot of email or text messages or messages on LinkedIn. I'm saying, no, this is not how we do, this is not how we grow, especially for Sales Pro for you. It makes no sense for me, to attract potential clients like this.
Yeah, well, the key word is attract, and the way we approach it, taking our experience with big brands is you'll never get somebody from Coca-Cola cold calling you to buy a Coke. You know, it's all about attraction, and the way the big brands do it, branding is not about a logo, it's not about colors, it's not about fonts, it's about messaging. And your brand is your value proposition, why people should do business with you. And it's all about what makes you different and better than your competitors. Look at people that are doing something similar to you or taking business away from you. Look at what they do well, because, you got to be at least as good as they are. Look at what they do poorly, because that represents opportunity. But then you articulate what you do differently and better, not better in the whole world, what you do better for the people that might want to work with you or buy your product or join your organization. And then after that, marketing, branding, sales becomes super easy because once you can articulate what you do differently and better than your competitors, all you have to do is throw it out to the world. And you've never had more places ever in the history of anything to throw your messaging out to the world.
But David, before it comes about, let's say, the branding, for me, the most, let's say, difficult part is to be laser focused. This is also what one expert during a podcast told to me. You have to be more laser focused, with the service or the product you're offering. And I believe this is the most difficult part, right?
I would say that one thing that people, it's simple. It's simple. You have to be laser focused. You have to be clear about what makes you different and better than your competitors. Now that sounds very simple, but it's kind of like the game of Go. It's easy to explain in a few seconds, but it takes a lifetime to master that. And I think that when you're coming up with that, again, don't take simple for easy. And then being laser focused, it's not so much about your what you're selling, your product, telling people why you need what you do, because nowadays when they've contacted you, they've come to your website, they know what you do, and they know what they need. What you have to do now is convince them what it is that's special about what you do, and very quickly, because time is short these days. But you have to convince them why they should work with you or buy your product or join your organization. And that's the part you have to be laser focused with.
And for me, it's also about trust. So, I would, buy any kind of product from a friend, either than from a stranger.
Yeah, the trust is something that I think a lot about. I'm just blown away by the level of trust that people have. I think it probably goes back to the kindness that we're hardwired to work with people. I think trust is something that it takes a long, long time to earn, and you can lose it in seconds. But again, I'm an older guy, and when I started my career at basically the start of the internet. And I remember one of the discussions that everybody was having was who's going to put their credit card information online. Now I'm shocked because if you communicate well and that you do communicate, why people should work with you, why they should trust you, we get people all the time I've never met before. I've met over Zoom, talked a few times, and every single day they send me $10,000, $100,000. It's crazy. So I think there's a fundamental trust that we do have with other people, but you do have to communicate. You have to reassure people. You have to have a track record, a history. I think one of the things that's great for trust is research, because nowadays people can find out almost anything about you and then make that assessment. Do they trust you? So you have to be consistently, consistent in your messaging, consistent in the way you deal with people. Reviews and stuff like that. People can see your track record clear as day. So you can't screw somebody over and then expect them to trust you in the future. You have to take care of every single person you do business with now.
Yeah, very important. We write our own history, right? Especially during this, since the internet appears, everything is now, available. You can just Google it and then you can find out anything about everyone. So very interesting. David, if I'm a startup, right? So what kind of advice would you give me when it comes about marketing or advertising in general?
Oh, that's a very, very good question. People ask me all the time, because we do focus on small businesses, startups, and nonprofits. They ask me all the time, what makes certain ones successful and other ones unsuccessful? And as the advice that I give you, and as near as I can tell, there's only one thing, and that is the successful people never give up. You change. Maybe you started out with one product offering and nobody likes it. Like with marketing, you throw your idea out in the world. People think that, if you put ads out and nobody buys your product, it's because the ads are bad. But more than likely, it's because that there's something with your product that's not, or your service that's not resonating with people. And so the successful ones, they listen, and then they adjust. And in the tech world, we call it a pivot. But basically, you just change your mind and say, no, that people don't like that. Let's try something different. But never ever give up. The only way a small business can ever go out of business is to give up.
Wow, very, very good advice. So I would just sum it up, because you said resonating, the feedback. You have to carefully listen, to the feedback of the market or of your potential clients, and you have to adjust.
Yep. People have to want what you're selling. And sometimes you have what you think is a brilliant idea, but people just don't want it. If you want to stay in business, and you have to look at what do they want, because your product is not for you, it's for your customers. Michael Newman, our director of marketing and co-CEO, he likes to say that if you build something for yourself, be prepared to buy all your own products. You absolutely have to think of the people that are going to be doing business with you, not yourself.
Wow, yeah, I'm very impressed. I mean, talking to you, it's so nice. Thank you so much, David. I would like also to ask you if it would be possible if you can just share, let's say, a success story. I mean, during your time. I mean, either in the field of marketing or the field of advertising, or maybe during the time selling. So maybe there's kind of a special story, which helps the listeners to learn from your success or also from your faults.
Okay, I'd say my biggest success is that our very first client is still with us. That would be my number one success, the thing I'm most proud of, above money or anything like that. Just that we've been consistent and managed to treat people well over the years. Faults, good God, we have millions of them. Every single year we seem to do something very, very wrong. Most recently, we were growing so quickly that we had to hire people quickly. And we hired people based on resume, and we managed to attract these amazing people. But we didn't think of the culture of our company. And so we grew so quickly, and we were hiring people that had amazing talents and skills and resumes, but we didn't think about how they interact with other people in our company. By and large, they were always great with our clients, but they tended to be a lot, not all of them, but many of them tended to be very aggressive towards people in our company. And we're all about kindness. And it started to eat us out from the inside. And at that point, we went back to our origins with kindness. And we ended the relationship with the people that were unkind. And I don't think that it was anything with them. They were terrific, really smart people. I think you have to find the right fit with people. And so then we started rehiring, but paying attention to the fit. How well do they fit with the people on our team, with our company values? And we did that with clients as well, where we had some clients that were challenging clients. I think they were good people. I think everybody deep down inside, with a few exceptions, are good people, but we were thinking of the fit. And so we ended our relationship with the clients as well that weren't a great fit. Cost us a whole lot of money because we returned their retainers 100%. We didn't want to leave anybody in a tough position. It wasn't their fault or our fault, it was the fit. And then as a result of that massive failure, now, oh good God, we've got the best people, the best clients, the best everything you could ever ask for. But it was scary. We almost went out of business with that one.
Wow. I mean, for me, it's brave and scary, at the same time. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. Last question, because we are almost at the end of the episode of today. It's tough to formulate a question because I have several thoughts in my head right now. But maybe to put it in a nutshell, what do you think, or how to attract, when it comes about employees, not freelancers, but maybe employees, how to attract as a startup or as a company or any kind of brand, how to attract the Generation Z?
Very, very, very good question, and a great follow-up to what I mentioned was our big catastrophe, was because at that point we thought, now how do we attract people, the right people? And I'm by no means perfect at this, but what we went to, I can't necessarily give you the answer, but I can tell you what worked for us, is we went to our core values and our mission, what we were trying to accomplish in the world. And I think people more and more are, as the world's getting incredibly chaotic right now. And I think more people are trying to align with their own personal values. They want a job that they really enjoy working, that's meaningful to them. Our mission is to make the world a better place, and we decided, we just leaned into that. We looked for people that were not looking for money, that were looking to make the world a better place. We like to pay them very well, though. We want people to feel comfortable and safe and all of that, but we made it clear the job is not about money, it's about our mission of making the world a better place. And then one little trick that seemed to resonate with a lot of the people that we did wind up hiring is I told everybody we'd like this to be the last job that you ever have, and meant it.
That's the best thing I ever heard.
Oh, and it's a double-edged sword, because not only am I saying we'd like you to commit long-term with us, but it's on me to make it a job that they would want to commit to. So it holds me accountable as much as it holds them accountable as well. And I thought it was fabulous. People seem to really like that one.
Okay, David, and that's wrapping up our enlightening episode of the Mentor Talk of today. So thank you so much, David. It was a pleasure talking to you. And just some last words to the audience. So remember, success is a journey, and having the guidance and the wisdom of an experienced professional makes all the difference. And if you have any kind of feedback, or if you would like to get support or get in touch by today's expert David Gaz, or if you would like to become part of this mentoring community of Sales Pro for You, please email me to mentor@salesproforyou.com. Thank you so much, David.
Oh, Suzette, thank you for having me on your show. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.